Casey Shepard, integrative health coach here, bringing you guys more information and education all the time. I help men and women every single day to optimize their bodies and look beyond the surface level things and finally achieve the health, the vitality, and the physique that they've never been able to achieve before. We do this by looking deeper. And today I want to talk about the hidden dangers of blindly supplementing with minerals, some of the things that you didn't know and the hidden reasons. So, minerals work to drive cellular function. We have sodium and potassium that regulate that sodium pump. We have calcium and magnesium that carry out these functions. These are our four main minerals, but we also have several others in our mineral balance. And then we bring heavy metals into play that can disrupt this cellular function. And so, calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium are really the four main minerals that need to be balanced. And if those aren't balanced, the rest of our minerals cannot be balanced. And so we see how important that part is. But if we have any heavy metals that are in the tissues, it also disrupts the ability for those four main elements to be balanced and for our body to be hydrated. Drinking water alone doesn't mean you're hydrated. That water has to be able to stay in the cell and get in the cell, and then those cells have to be able to be carried where they need to be carried in order to be utilized by our organs and to keep the water in our system. It's why we can get kidney stones or gallstones. It's why we can pee a ton and still not feel like we're hydrated. It's why we can have poor energy. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with these mineral imbalances, and minerals are important in every cell of our body and every organ and our hormone balance, and they drive our glands to be producing the hormones and to be functioning the way they should. Mineral imbalances lead to thyroid problems, pituitary issues, ovarian issues. If we don't have the proper minerals to be driving our ovaries to be producing hormones, you see where a lot of these things starting to get disrupted. High calcium and magnesium retention leads to low thyroid function because sodium and potassium then end up dropping. And one of the major issues with blindly supplementing with minerals is that too much or too little of a mineral will drive this dysfunction even further and create more imbalances on a different end. It's not just about what the levels are themselves, it's about the ratio of certain things as well. You could have an okay amount of calcium and the magnesium might be at the bottom of the range, but if those two aren't in the right balance, they will create dysfunction. And I mentioned in a reel I posted this past week about how people who always talk about just burning through so much magnesium and how their body uses so much of it, well, likely these people don't have enough potassium. Potassium supports magnesium in its absorption and its ability to be retained in the body. We aren't going to be utilizing magnesium well if our potassium isn't staying up high enough. And sodium and potassium sort of compete. So if sodium is too high, then potassium can't come up high enough to bring it into that balance. And you can see how everything just starts to throw off from there. And so when you have people that are just taking magnesium by itself or taking a bunch of calcium when they don't have enough magnesium, they're literally driving their glands into dysfunction. And if you've watched some of my other videos on mineral balance HTMA testing, you know that our serum blood levels do not reflect what is getting into the cell on the tissue level. And it is why I do HTMA hair analysis testing, because we can see then about a 3-month snapshot of what is actually being absorbed in the tissues of the body. The body will always prioritize our blood levels to keep mineral balance and hydration, but it's the tissues and our organs and our glands that suffer because they are showing a more absorbable rate of what's getting into those cells. And there are certain blood levels that show us maybe what could be off with mineral levels. And we put both of those together to compare and see how is this dysfunction happening, what's causing it, what's coming from it, and what is contributing to it. If you have issues with absorption in the body, in the digestive tract, it can be really easy to have mineral dysfunction, but poor hydration and mineral dysfunction can actually lead to gut issues and vice versa. So it's nice to get a full snapshot to really see. But if you're someone who's out there taking a ton of zinc, slamming it all the time to keep really good immune system function because you don't want to get sick, you're probably creating a lot of issues. Zinc and copper compete for absorption. And when you take a ton of zinc and you don't have any copper in your diet, you're driving your copper levels down. And it starts to create a lot of other issues in the body. People do this with several other things. And until you actually test to see what's absorbing in the tissues, then you don't know. And there are a lot of symptoms that go along with some of these dysfunction things, like really low energy levels and suppressed energy in the morning or throughout the day is sometimes low sodium and potassium. Those are energy giving minerals. If you think about how calcium, magnesium are very calming minerals, your body's in an overly calm state because it doesn't have enough of the sodium and potassium to bring it into that more energized state. And so we see a lot of people's symptoms with digestion and a lot of things line up with a lot of the symptoms that they're feeling. And a huge part of coming into full healing and feeling great is having mineral balance. In any amount of heavy metals that we find in the body can disrupt the absorption and the balance of some of these minerals. Some of these minerals elevate and retain in order to protect the cell from heavy metals, or some minerals deplete because of heavy metals, and vice versa. And when it comes to hydration, everyone's just slamming electrolytes and taking all this stuff, and they just don't know, like, what does your body specifically need. A lot of those electrolytes have high sodium. There's not really as much potassium. They may have a lot of magnesium in it, but most people aren't getting the calcium that they need, or they're not getting enough of the potassium. And we do get a lot of these nutrients from food, but again, if you're not absorbing things well, or you're getting too much of some things, like even medications can cause our glandular suppression, which then can change the way we use minerals or how much we need of certain things. And so over time, especially like people on birth control or certain antidepressants or certain things that are messing with the glandular function, it can change how much of certain minerals their body has, is retaining, or needs more of. And so that's huge with people. And they felt this way for so long, they don't even know anymore what their system needs, or they think it's normal. And with a lot of kids, I see major imbalances in minerals or certain heavy metals. We get a lot of this stuff from our water system. We can get it from, again, medications or food. And if we are deficient in certain minerals, our body will likely start to retain more of these heavy metals to sort of fill that receptor site in the cell. It's called ionic mimicry, where it's still carrying out some sort of function with it. So we see certain patterns and things. And again, it's about ratios of some of these minerals together, because certain minerals compete with each other and certain ones work together. We need enough of this for this level to come up, or on the other side, the ones that compete, the higher this one goes, the more it will push that one down. And so you have to look at it all in that way. And the best way to test for this is through the HTMA hair analysis test, where we actually take a sample of your hair at the root and we analyze it in the lab to see what is the tissue actually absorbing in the body and what heavy metals are present, if any. And then we can figure out so much from there as a part of the healing process to see, what does this person specifically need more of, what are some of their symptoms that they're experiencing, and what other things are going on in their system that could be contributing to some of this. So it's a very individualized plan, and figuring out how to evolve somebody from there. If you're interested in more of the hair analysis testing, the individualized coaching, consulting stuff that I do, please reach out to me through my contact form on my website. My email is down below. Follow me on all social media platforms, where I talk more about doing a lot of the functional lab testing, information on nutrition, supplementation, and things that can help you optimize your body as well.